Hello everyone, welcome to Radically Loved Radio. I wanted to create a place where people can go to get inspired, get motivated, or find some clarity and get tools to create a radically loved life. I will do my best to provide information on a variety of subjects, including yoga, holistic health, life coaching, spirituality, meditation, and overall mindful living. Each episode will bring you some of the world's best spiritual leaders, entrepreneurs, yoga teachers, coaches, along with some of my closest friends, and we will talk about their life experiences and journeys to create something more out of their lives and how they continue to grow to make that happen. Thanks for listening. One of the things that I find so fascinating about our journeys or just how we kind of continue to grow as individuals and the way I see together, just as a communal unit, I've been able to see you grow and like the projects that you're working on and the trauma that you've been through. Like I was able to, via social media experience it with you. And I know that I'd send you a couple of texts and like we've kept in contact. But I want everyone to know how impactful you personally, and your mom's story, who hopefully we'll get to, but how impactful you've been in my life and just as somebody that inspires me and somebody that I look up to. So Michelle, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet because I feel like it's the other way around, that you inspire me and I'm so proud of you. And I've been able to follow you and God, I couldn't be more proud of what you've built just by being authentic to yourself. That's it. You did it in the most simple, beautiful way. And I remember Rosie. How long was it?
I don't know, but I think we met in New York for the first time. But I don't know. It's been, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah, 7 years ago. So it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
You were an assistant,
right?
Yeah,
I was an assistant. Yeah.
And she was just burnt out. And I saw her, and she was just hunched over a computer, and she was burnt out. She's this beautiful girl. And we started talking, and oh my God. Anyway, I'm talking about you. I knew you want to talk about me, but we just had this connection, and it's been really cool. Even though we've sort of gone different ways, we've been able to stay in touch, and I'm just really proud of you.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. That's awesome. Michelle got to meet me in the sort of apex of my life when I had my other career, and it was a really an intense time, and I would say definitely a catalyst to everything that I've done, to Radically Loved, to my certification as a yoga teacher, to my certification as a coach. Everything really, that really was sort of the catalyst to propel me to find my path or find my why, or to find really what I wanted to do and the things that I want to bring to the world, So we'll get more into that as we progress. But Michelle is somebody that's, as I said, definitely has inspired me in my path and my journey. And I want you to tell the audience a little bit of your background, what you do, and what projects you've been working on lately. So
okay, yeah.
Go.
So go. This is an interesting situation because I'm usually the one asking questions.
We switch the roles. Awesome.
I know. So it's always uncomfortable for me to talk about myself, but this is great. So I'm a journalist, a producer at CBS News. And right now I'm working at 48 Hours. Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of, primetime specials and a lot of, crime and justice stories. And that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years. Before that, I was at the Today Show in New York, sort of being groomed into being a producer. And that was a crazy experience. No clue what I was doing.
Well, you were so young too.
I didn't even graduate college.
What?
I did an internship at the Today Show, and when it ended, I went in to say goodbye, thanks, and they were like, "No, sit down. Do you want to work here?" And I was like, "Yeah." Yeah. And so I never finished. I never went back to college. It kills my parents, but I stayed and I worked my way up there, and just kind of fell in love with telling stories. And I'm so fascinated by people and learning what makes them tick. And so anyway, it's become it's sort of become my career.
Yeah. So you transitioned now to this job, but you were living in New York.
Yep, I was in New York, which was an incredible experience to start off, and got the best training possible from the Today Show and everyone there. And then after about 5 years, I missed home. I wanted to be back in California. I needed a break. My soul needed a break. I was tired. So I moved back.
I love how you're just like kind of skating through. You're just like, it was just a lot, It's highly stressful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, highly stressful. So stressful once that I ended up in the hospital for like a week and a half with pneumonia just from working myself to, I didn't know. When you're young, you don't know your limits. And I just thought I was Superwoman and I was trying to prove myself. And I got myself so sick that I ended up spending Christmas in the hospital. And the weirdest thing about it was they said they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, why I wasn't improving, and they diagnosed me with Hodgkin's lymphoma, cancer. Because they found lymph nodes in my chest. It ended up disappearing, or I never had it, or it was a bad diagnosis. But It was pretty crazy.
That's kind of a major diagnosis.
Yeah.
Diagnosis to fuck up.
Yeah, so that's when I was like, oh, wow, I got to learn this balance thing. I was in my early 20s. So anyway, that was a pivotal point in my life when I realized you got to tap into you got to calm down,
Yeah.
You need to stop proving yourself. And I didn't get that until I think maybe my beginning of my 30s. And I'm still getting that, where feeling that you're enough and like you're not defined by what story you bring in, what booking you make. You have to be defined by who you are as a person. And that's so hard to do and to remember.
Yeah. How did you get to that point? Like, what happened?
A lot of yoga, I have to say. I'm not just saying this to please you.
Great segue. No, please tell us.
Yoga was like, I fell in love with yoga. And it was where I would go to just recharge after every stressful day. And I felt like in the most bliss I've ever felt in my life. It's magical. I don't understand it. And I've Googled why does yoga make you feel this way? And I was trying to figure out the scientific reasoning behind each pose and how it makes you feel so blissful. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just this magic for me that I feel just inside myself. I feel happy, I feel complete, I feel relaxed, I feel cleansed. And so, I don't know, I guess I learned lessons through each class about myself. And I've been doing it for a while now, and it's Jesus. I mean, it's the best thing in my life, I have to say. I couldn't live without it.
Yeah, I mean, so it's definitely helpful for you to maintain the balance in your life, it sounds like.
Yeah, and sort of just put me back into perspective of, of what matters and what's important in life. And that the stress that I'm dealing with right now and all the emails and all the, intensity is, it's not everything.
Yeah, it's true. Well, and as a journalist, you're such a gifted storyteller and you're constantly interacting with people, right? So you're constantly learning. So I'm always fascinated by the stories that you're working on because you're always posting them. So I get to see what you're working on, so I get to see what's on 48 Hours. I feel like I'm like, oh, I know what's coming out because Michelle's working on this project.
Inside scoop.
Yeah, inside scoop. So I find it very fascinating, but for your own personal sort of self-development, I'm sure it's so impactful to be able to talk to people and get to know their stories and just be out in the field.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I do what I do. It's just being able to really connect with people and to learn about their struggle or, whatever, is going on in their life. For example, we had this, when we had the Brussels terrorist attack in March of this year, actually, I mean, that was horrific. And, over 300 people were injured. Over 30 just died at that airport and in the metro system. I mean, and so we came across this story of this incredible survivor who was a basketball player and a father. And he got hit by that second bomb that went off, and he couldn't move. I mean, his leg was almost completely ripped off of his body. And he's just bleeding to death. I mean, and it's chaos, and there's no one there that's going to, people are trying to pick him up and help him, but they're scared of another bomb, so they leave him. And it's just, basically this horrific story of survival that we got to follow him through his recovery to learn how to walk again. And those are the stories that just, you're never the same.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool. You become, you mold into a different person, and it shapes you who you are. And it's like a piece of my heart is that story and is of that family. Yeah.
So you got to spend some time with him and his family?
Yeah, we decided to do. We felt it was such a powerful story, and he was such an inspiring person that we dedicated 6 months, 8 months. I forgot 8 months to following him, which is a big thing to do, to put a lot of time into that. So we spent eight months. He was stuck in Brussels Hospital for a little over 3 months because of the complications of the injury and all the surgeries he had to have done. So I was there hanging out with him, and following and documenting. And then once he went home, we were able to follow into Michigan, his home in Michigan. So it was a great 8 months.
Yeah, you can relate to going through physical traumatic stress, right? So tell us what happened to you.
Yeah. It actually starts earlier on. I don't think I've ever told you, but when I was 12, I was waiting at the crosswalk with my friend to cross the street, and I don't think I told you, the lady, a driver, we don't know if she was drunk or on medication or what, but she ran up on the sidewalk and hit me. And I was on her windshield. I was 12, so I was really 80 pounds,
Oh, no.
And she just drove off with me on the windshield. And so I had two really big blows to my head. One was being hit, the impact, and then the second was falling off the car in the middle of the street. So that left me with a traumatic brain injury. Yeah. So I went. I know I didn't. I don't think I told you this.
No, this is the inside. This is really the inside scoop.
This is the exclusive. No one's ever heard this story.
Oh no, I'm excited. Please continue.
That was extremely painful. I'm not sure if you know about people who have traumatic brain injuries, but at least in my case, each one's unique. And in my case, I lost everything in terms of memory. I could remember who you were, but I couldn't remember what 2 + 5 equaled. I couldn't remember where I lived. I couldn't remember how to get home from school. I couldn't remember everything. I didn't know how to read anymore.
Oh no! Could you remember your parents?
I knew my parents.
Okay.
And it was weird because it was an evolution of figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't realize, she's hurt. She went to the doctor. She went home. She rested for months. And then I went back to school and it was like, wait, I don't know what this math is. I can't read. And then I would go, I lived 2 minutes from home and I was lost trying to get home. And it was dark out and everyone was looking for me and I got myself lost. No. It's so embarrassing. I'm still embarrassed. But
you didn't remember? Why are you going to be embarrassed over something that you couldn't remember?
At 12, you're ashamed.
Wow.
You're ashamed because you feel stupid. You're stupid all of a sudden. It's like you wake up in another person's body. And I was this smart kid, and now I'm stupid. And that's how I took it. So that was, I think, what made me fight to get into the career that I am. And not the career that I'm in, but to get to a level that I felt proud of.
Yeah.
To be able to graduate college, to be able to be in a field that's respected and that's intelligent. I think that's what propelled me to, to want to be at that level because I was fighting to get it all back. Yeah. So it was a 15-year struggle of therapy and just retraining my brain,
Yeah.
and the brain's amazing. I mean, the
Yeah.
brain can heal.
Oh man. Yeah.
So that's what I learned about it. It's like, wow, you can do incredible things. And granted, my injury wasn't as severe as some people's injuries where they never get it back. But yeah, so that happened. And then just recently last year, my husband and I were driving on Thanksgiving weekend, and we got someone hit us, and our truck just spun out of control. We were flipping across the freeway, and that was like, after I'd been through that, I'm like, Jesus, not enough.
Oh no.
No more cars.
Yeah, no more cars.
No more cars. And we thought we were dying, and we ended up flipping to the side of the road.
What happened? Did somebody hit,
the car that hit us said that someone was about to hit him, and he spun, and his car spun out of control, and then it hit my side of the car, and it caused, the hit was because we were going, traffic speed 70 miles or so, and then the impact caused our car to flip, and so we just flipped across the freeway. And then, I went back to having another, I was so scared that my brain was going to be damaged again. I ended up having a concussion, which healed, thank God. But, so, I took some time off, and just, it was time to heal. Sometimes I feel like you get smacked down.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's the universe's way of saying you're missing something.
You're missing something. I totally agree with you. It's those moments sometimes when it's like when we manifest getting a cold. I mean, obviously getting into a major, almost fatal car accident is nothing like getting a cold. But there's something that happens with the energy that we put out into the universe when you're just like, I just want a day in bed. Yeah. I just want to be able to like lay in bed. I need to slow down. And all of a sudden it's like, boom, you have a cold. And it's like the universe is like, okay, you want to lay in bed all day? Here, let me just let me make this happen for you. I'm such a strong believer in the power of manifestation.
Gosh.
You get what you give. Whatever energy you're putting out there is what you're going to get back. So I really do believe that everything happens for a reason, so big events like that's a pretty traumatic, like near-death experience, really. Twice that's happened to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like, I thought I learned it the first time, but I mean,
what are you going to learn at 12 years old? It's almost like, what did this 12-year-old do to be able, but it's one of those things that just happens. It made you...
It made me who I was.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever have strived to be what I've worked so hard, and it's humbled me, and it's made me a more compassionate person, which has allowed me to actually do my job better, because there's empathy behind the work I do and the interactions I have with people. Yeah. Where a lot of times in journalism, people just want to get your story, get it on the air, get out of there, and that's not how I do it. I like to really feel you out and feel your story and connect with it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're really holding the dialogue that you're having in your hand, and that's an attribute of being present, with somebody, which I think is missing, and it's kind of one of the themes in our lives now, is we're so disconnected from the other. We're so disconnected from the people that we're currently with. We go to lunch and the phones are on the table, or we are hanging out with kids or our partner, and we're just like constantly disconnected or disengaged or thinking about the past or projecting into the future. It's like we can't ever really fully be in the moment. Yeah.
And I do, and even though I know that, and you know that, and I'm sure your listeners know that, it's a constant struggle to remember it and actually do it, because we get sucked up.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy to be distracted. And the thing is, like, part of what we learn as yogis or as practitioners or even as teachers is that we have to practice. Like, you consistently have to practice, because only then will you begin to rewire your mind and teach your mind, no, be present now. Like, stop what you're doing, pay attention, take a deep breath, pause for a moment, and just come back to now.
Do you think that you can get to that? Like, do you think that the more you do that, it's almost like you strengthen the muscle and you get better at it and better at it? And so you're finding yourself less likely to be in the situations where you're wrapped up in stress.
Of course. It's like that's exactly what it is. The more you do it, the easier it is for you to tune into that space, to go into the space of pause, to go into the space of stillness, or to go into a space of just quiet. Because we all need that. We're constantly berated by information all the time. Like the information that we get on our computer screen, our mind scientifically doesn't even process all. It's just like everything's going so fast. It's like a strobe light all day long that you're seeing.
Just look at the setup of Facebook.
Yeah.
Just the scrolling, the constant scrolling of information. You don't even have a second to digest each post. It's like, it's insane.
I know. And so the thing is, like, and for the listeners too, is think about it. When you are scrolling, are you breathing? Like, or are you holding your breath? Are you just looking and scrolling and not breathing and just holding all this tension in your body as you're just like scrolling. My teacher, Yoga Rupa Run Striker, always says, and I say this to all my students all the time, think about the destiny that's not happening while you're clicking or scrolling. You're scrolling. It's like the time that you spend scrolling and clicking, what destiny is not happening?
That's good.
Right?
Yeah. And I think everyone out there needs to, at least at this holiday, I'm going to try to stay off as much, you know? And I think that cleansing, the digital cleansing is really...
It's so big.
It's so big.
Yeah, it's so big.
Yeah.
Because it's the way that we connect now. It's the new medium, right? I mean, I love social media, and I love
because I get to follow you. I mean, that's
and I get to see you, and we get to connect with the people that we love and that we were inspired by, or that we look up to, or our family members or our friends. But it can be very insidious too, right?
Yeah.
I get this, I get emails from listeners asking questions about moderating social media or getting off social media, or, maybe they get depressed when they're on social media.
Yeah.
I have this one student that she sent me an email saying, this is part of some work that we're doing together. And she was really upset because she saw that her best friend just got engaged. And they've been friends for a long time. She's single, you know, and she is happy for her friend. She loves her friend, but got so upset and was really hurt and just jealous and just angry at the world, and that totally changed her whole energy. And like, we talked it through, and we talked about all the fear behind that, and obviously the fear is that, when am I gonna get it? Why not me? I'm not good enough. Something's wrong with me. I'll never find a partner. I'm never getting married. This is never gonna happen for me. And it's like, whatever you say to your mind, that's what will be.
You get.
Yeah.
God, that's so powerful. I mean, that is so true.
The mind is
so scary.
It is, but like...
And powerful.
Exactly. Our mind is such a powerful thing that we forget. I mean, with these traumas that you had, these brain injuries, and by the way, Michelle is the most brilliant, most intellectual, knowledgeable woman that I know.
That's so sweet. It was... Flunk outs, F's, D's.
No, and
that's so sweet.
The focus that we really forget how powerful our minds really are.
Yeah.
I mean, there was this, I can't remember who the speaker was, but I was at a conference and the speaker started to talk about the power of the mind and healing, and it was about meditation and neuroscience, right? And the merging of the two, and it's obviously something I'm very passionate about. And he started to say, imagine that you're smelling a lemon. So We can all do this. Like, imagine you're holding a lemon up to your nose and you're smelling it. And now take a big bite out of the lemon and feel the citrusness, the tanginess of this lemon as you're biting it. Don't worry about the enamel on your teeth. They're going to be fine. But just keep biting it. And now open your eyes and feel the enzymes in your mouth right now. If you really did it, like,
I really felt that, that tangy lemon. Yeah. That's crazy.
So, but that's the power of your mind. You
so
did not just bite into a lemon. That was like the power of the mind.
Wow. And it felt like the same experience.
Right.
It's true. And I think, you know, if anyone could take anything away from our conversation, it's that be conscious of what you're telling yourself every day. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when I was going through my traumatic brain injury, I did that almost every day at one point. I would say I am smart, I'm talented, I am pretty, I am, you know, and I constantly told myself it was a tip from my doctor. And I don't know if it, you know, I didn't know at the time what it was doing, but I think it did something, you know, and I did get to be what I wanted to be. And those little things add up, and it can be a very powerful effect on your life.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Just do it. If we just do it, and if we make these declarations, we make it so.
Yeah, even if you don't believe it. Like at that time, I thought I was stupid, you know, and I thought I was just never going to get anywhere in life. But even if you say it and you don't believe it, sometimes something about it, eventually you start to believe it. And that's, I think, what you're saying, the power of the mind.
Exactly. How important have mentors been in your life? Do you have any mentors in your life right now?
That's a really good question. I mean, I have to say my mom.
Your mom's amazing.
My mom is so amazing, and she is someone that shows you that you can create anything, and there's so much inside of you that you don't even know.
Yeah.
And Rosie's the exact example of, you know, when I met you before your career that you have now, you didn't know, did you? Mm-mm. What was in you?
No clue. I really didn't. It was something so beyond. If you had told me back then that I'd be doing everything that I'm doing now and getting ready to gear up for even more stuff that's coming, I would have said, hell no. There's no way. I don't see it. Like, there was no vision for it.
You were working for people who did that.
I was working for people that did that. And that was always my wheelhouse. Because I was really good at that. I was really good at helping other people succeed and other people's lives to flow smoothly. That was my jam, right? Never would I thought that, but there was a little bit of sense that, or at least a little desire that I would have liked to be doing what I was doing for myself. You know, I would look at my computer and look at that calendar and be like, oh, maybe one day I'd like to be this busy. Literally. Wow. That was a thought that came into it. I was like, I want to be that busy one day. I want to have this much going on. And that was like as far as it went, you know? It wasn't until you and I had this really epic catalyst of a conversation where Michelle told me about her mom, Lila Fanucci, who is an incredible artist and is so awesome. And I've sent your mom notes, and we're friends on Facebook and stuff. And I tell her all the time, just like, I am just such a fan, you know, and I'd really like you to tell, you know, just a little recap of your mom's story that sort of helped me or inspired me to be able to see that big vision.
Sure. So my mom was someone who was a music teacher for most of her life and just got burnt out. Loved music, loved teaching children, but there was a point where she just like couldn't do it anymore. It was like done. And so she had that going on, and her soul is searching for more, right? And she's thinking there's got to be more to life. And at the same time, she has some blank walls at her home, and she wants to fill it with some art. And she goes around some of the galleries of town and is like, God, these prices are crazy. Like, I could do this, or my kids could do that. So she bought a canvas and some paint, and she had us, her kids, do some, make a drawing. Let's see, I was probably about 14, 15 then. Yeah. And she took what I did and she just kind of started to draw all over it and just loved the process of painting. Thought that was the most amazing experience. She put it up on her wall and liked it, and she was satisfied. And then it evolved into just wanting to paint more and wanting to paint more and wanting to paint more. And she basically was able to, she was able to,
Let's just pause.
So she ended up, loving art. People were encouraging her art, and I mean, long story short, she was able to, make a living off of painting every day and doing what she loves. And now she's, sort of a famous international artist. She is a famous international artist. She's got books out, and she's been all around the world exhibiting her art in Paris, at the Louvre, and in Morocco, and she, my dad said at the time, God, you can't quit your job. We have 3 kids that are about to go into college. Like, he gave her an article that said 1% of artists make it. And he's a great, encouraging guy, but he was just being realistic. Like, you're going crazy. You can't paint for a living. And she said, give me 1 year. 1 year. Back me up for 1 year. And he did. Because he knew she would be a very unhappy lady. And she started selling her work just out of her home. Yeah. There's people coming by and loving it, and got an agent in New York who believed in her, and the rest was history. And now she's in complete bliss every day. She paints from morning, noon to night, and that's all she wants to do, and she's so happy. So... And she makes way more than she ever made as a teacher. I mean, she would... I bet. You know what I mean? Some of these are selling for like $100,000 a pop. Oh. And so it's the lesson that you have to follow your gut. I think that, like, what's in us is not the ego. It's like what God put in our lives. Like, what you want to do, that... didn't just magically come there. It did magically come there, but it's not you making it up or wanting to be something for your own ego. That's actually what God put in your life, and that's what the universe wants you to do, and if you feel that force, trust it. Because look what happened to my mom, and look what happened to so many people who trust it, and look what happens to you. And Rosie, is the most authentic person I've ever met, and it's incredible to watch people follow their truth, because it's explosive. Yeah, the creation that they make is explosive, and it's just a message that we all need to follow our truth. And it may not be easy in the beginning, and there may be sacrifices that you have to make, but if you follow who you are and what feels right in your gut and your soul, you'll always there's going to be magic and art and creativity at the end of the road. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for that. That's lovely. Yeah. What would you say to somebody that is maybe struggling to find their path in that? So I also believe that we are all born with something, a gift, a calling of sorts, right? What would you say to somebody that is maybe having a hard time finding that? Yeah, and my mom would say, she'd say everyone has a gift, everyone has many gifts. I think you have to start with what makes you happy, what makes you happy. Go back, a lot of self-help books say go back to what you loved doing when you were 10, what made you happy then. I think it's just really remembering what makes you feel like you have meaning, and purpose and what makes you happy, and try and get out there and try. And sometimes you'll get out there and you'll start doing something and it'll lead you to another way. If you're following your truth, it doesn't matter where you go, you'll eventually end up in the right spot. And that's the beauty of it, you know. So just get out there and go and see where life leads you, but always follow what is true in your heart.
Yeah. What makes you happy?
Oh my gosh. People like you make me happy. I mean it. It's so encouraging to find people like you, because they don't. It's a rare number, I think. You know, we live in LA, and it can be very superficial and ego-driven and yucky.
Yeah.
To use a very
very generalized, very G-rated.
Right. Third grade status. It's yucky. And when you find people like Rosie who just are real and have a beautiful, loving heart, that makes me happy. To know that you exist in the world, and that you're not only inspiring just the immediate people around you, but now you're broadening it so that more people can be, inspired and touched. That's awesome.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Who has been the biggest influence in your life?
I think my parents as a unit, watching them stick together in love when there were so many hard times, especially, with me going through my accident, and watching them just go through the pain and fight and sacrifice everything to get me better. I think that really showed me like the power of love. But, I didn't realize the depth of it, and how much a parent can love their child until I sort of looked back on what they did for me. Yeah.
Would you say that they are proud of you?
Oh, I think I drive them crazy, but I think they are. Yeah, I feel that they're proud. I don't think they'd ever. I don't think they always believed in me, but I think they were concerned that during those dark times where I was struggling, that yeah. This is gonna be like
what's gonna happen here?
What's in store? But they always had hope. I mean, I remember. I think it was one of my doctors. God, and it's funny I think about this now, but one of my doctors evaluated me, and it said something like, she'll never make it to. She won't even be to college, and even a junior college is out of her league. And they were getting an assessment for doing all these tests. I'm not sure really why. And I remember going in my mom's sock drawer and doing her laundry and seeing that she had buried it in her socks. And I read it and I just cried. And I think she crumbled it up because she didn't believe in it, but she had to save it for the lawsuit.
Right.
So that was her way of handling it.
Right.
It's there, but it's
there, but I'm not going to look at it.
Right. If I need it, it's there. And I saw it, and I was just crying, and I believed it. And she said, "Don't believe it. It's not true." So she believed in me, and that made me believe in myself.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, you're currently married.
Yeah.
To your husband, Nate.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Who I've yet to meet.
Oh, you guys are going to love each other.
Okay,
You're like
good.
the same person.
Oh, good.
It's great.
I can't wait. How do you and Nate, your husband, maintain work-life balance in your relationship?
It's hard because I am the crazy, manic producer that I hate being, but I am. And I get very into what I'm doing, and so that means the phones are out, the cuss words are out. And a lot of times I work from home, so sometimes he's there, and I come home and I also bring home my work, which isn't good. So we've been working on that. I try. We've been going to yoga together, and that really helps. And just being more mindful and compassionate. It's a constant, reminder that to slow down and just be in the present moment with each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, we try. We're not perfect.
No one is. That's always the thing.
Yeah.
Like, especially in relationships, it's always work. It's like everything else. It's work. It's work. I'm sorry. Those of you that are like, it's not work, just wait. Or no, I'm just kidding. I mean, if it's not work for you, that's awesome. For me, in my experience, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. It's
Yeah,
just like
it's
going
totally
through a
worth
good
it.
workout. Like, it sucks in the beginning, but at the end, it feels so good.
Yeah, Michelle did just compare her marriage to working out.
Yes.
Love it. So, what are some words of wisdom that you live by? Do you have like a quote, or do you have something that you have written on your wall, or something that inspires you, or some quote that was said to you that really impacted you?
So I love the quote, when you change the way you see things, the things you see will change. So that's always had a big effect on me. And just another thing is just giving back, trying to not take so much and giving back. That's something I constantly work on, because when we give back, it's like the gifts that you personally get are incredible. And I think it just is something that has inspired me to be a more giving and selfless person.
Can you tell us what kind of gifting you and Nate just did with the LAPD?
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Every year we do, we go around like the projects and we just surprise kids with gifts. They give us Christmas lists that they never think they could ever, that their parents could never really afford to give them. And we go and we shop for these kids and we get them everything they want and more. And we surprise them at their door. And it's like, makes your heart break, because you'll give them a lollipop and they're like so excited. But it's so sweet, and it's so important. In the organization I work with is called A Chance for Children. It's about giving these kids a chance, giving them a chance to experience things that most kids get to, and who knows? I think it has a big effect in their adult lives.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see how it would. I saw Michelle posted a video on Facebook of them going, and her and Nate and a couple officers from the LAPD going to gift gifts to these kids, and it was so heartwarming. It brought a tear to my eye. I think what impacted me the most, obviously, because I know you and I know your heart, and I know how much integrity you have as a person and how much love you just have to give. It just warmed me to know that there's people like you out there, like, doing this for people in need.
Yeah, there are, and I think we need to remember that there are so many good people in this world that are doing things for others. And the thing is, you go in and you think you're giving to someone else, and you just get filled with a gift of your own. The joy that you get, it just stays with you. Like, I'm still on a high from that day. I mean, to see those kids excited and the parents crying, thank you, because the guilt that they felt not being able to give their kids Christmas gifts, it's truly awesome. And even when I was so busy that week, I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull it off, but you just make sacrifices for it.
Yeah, you just make time.
You make it happen.
That's like one of my clients was telling me how she was feeling a little guilty for not making time for her kids, but if it's a work thing, like, she somehow finds time to work extra or go into the office for the meeting, but can't spend an extra hour without her phone hanging out with her kids. And it's like, well, you have the time. The time's there.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that I don't have time thing. I think it's, you just don't want to prioritize the time there.
It's so true.
I mean, sometimes you get to use that excuse, but sometimes it's just a priority of time.
Talking about time, I could keep. I'm literally. So when I emailed Michelle about this, first of all, I'm so honored to have her here, and she knows that.
I'm honored.
But I know that we can probably just talk for hours on end. So I'm going to respect her time and just ask her a couple more questions.
Yeah.
What area in your life do you feel the most free?
Ooh, these are good ones.
That's a huge compliment coming from you, by the way.
Oh my, I'm stumped. By the way, Rosie's one of the best interviewers I've ever come across. I'm like, can we tap you? What area in my life do I feel free? I think love, the love around me. I feel like my family and all the love that I have right now is so awesome.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel free, having love. Yeah.
So great. Well, what a great segue to the final question.
Okay, I'm ready.
So the whole idea of radically loved and why I started it is this premise or the ethos that we are all radically loved. There's God, source, universe, a higher power of your understanding, or whatever it is that you believe in. There is an energy that is keeping this earth spinning, that is keeping us alive, that keeps your heart beating, right? So we are all radically loved by our family, by source, by God, by whatever it is that you believe, right? So the question is, how do you feel radically loved? And what do you radically love?
How do I feel radically loved? God, you got me again. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. I feel radically loved, I think, just by maybe just my connection to knowing that there's some spiritual power in the world, greater than myself, that belief. And then what was the other one?
What do you radically love? What do you radically love?
Do I radically love? Wait, give the radically love definite thing again.
So, radically loved is this idea that we are all radically loved. We're
just by being alive, right?
Just by being human, by being on this planet, we're all radically loved by. It's like the love is what's keeping this world together. It's what is making the earth spin on its axis. I
get it.
You know, it's the force, right? Rogue One plug. That's what radically loved is. That's what this whole podcast and the brand's about, is like that we all have this innate, unlimited power to feel connected to one another, to the world, to this energy that's around.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. I mean, that's what I love, radically loved. I love that exists in the world and that we're all connected by a powerful force of love that I think is stronger than evil. And I've seen it, I've seen it firsthand, especially like in that terrorist attack story where you have the most evil you can't even digest it, the evil of just blowing people up. But you see people coming together and their love is so much more powerful and strong. And it's what heals and it's what keeps us going. And so it's the radically loved of life that truly exists.
Yeah.
You just have to see it.
What do you radically love? What is the intensity of that radical love that you feel towards something or someone?
I love the possibilities. It's not something that I can touch or name. I love whatever the energy is, the possibilities of life that can make you do anything, impact anyone, change the world, change people's lives. It's that, whatever it is, you can't touch it.
Can't touch it. And even it's almost like nameless too.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's nameless, but it's that energy that causes you to create things that can change the world in some way or the other.
Michelle Fanucci, you are an incredible human being. Thank you so much for being a guest.
I'm so honored.
Appreciate you, and I just want you to move in with me and just live here.
Let's do it again. Hey, well, I am down. You should see this cool.
Well, yeah. So
studio.
we're in my office right now. She's at my house in Laurel
So
Canyon.
awesome. The vibe is so you too.
It is.
So chill.
Well, if people want to kind of check out what you're doing and to sort of keep tabs on you or get to know you more, or I'm definitely going to link your mom's website in the show notes and all that stuff.
She'll love that. Yeah.
Where can we?
I guess. I mean, I don't really have a real website or anything.
She's doing the whole dance, just so you guys know. She's very animated.
I haven't reached that status in my life, but you can check me out on Facebook. I think Michelle Fanucci. There's not. You'll see me. There's only one other,
and you.
Yeah, and me. So and I'm on Twitter and if anyone wants to email me, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't give out my email.
I wouldn't give out your email.
But
just you can email
email
it to me at rosie@radicallylove.com if you have any questions for Michelle, or if you want to just tweet at her. If you want to tweet at her. I know it's
so great.
Tweet at her, or share this podcast with your friends if you found something that was inspiring for you or something that really captivated you. And that's it.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thanks everyone.
You rock.
You rock. Hey everyone, thanks for listening. For more information, visit www.radicallylove.com/podcast to read all about today's guests or past guests. You can click on any of the links, or for more information, you can always follow me on Instagram at Rosie Acosta or Twitter at Rosie Acosta, and let us know what you thought.